Donald Trump had always been a figure who thrived under pressure, a man who understood the battlefield of words better than most. Over the years, he had faced countless opponents, politicians, journalists, and media giants who had attempted to bring him down with sharp questions and pointed accusations. Yet time and time again, he emerged unscathed, often stronger than before. This time was no different. It was a highly anticipated television interview, one that had been hyped for weeks. The mainstream media, always eager for a confrontation, had framed it as the moment when Trump would finally be cornered, forced to answer questions that, they believed, would expose him. The host, a seasoned interviewer known for his aggressive style and relentless questioning, had prepared extensively, analyzing every past statement, every policy decision, every controversy that had ever surrounded Trump. He had crafted his questions with precision, designed not just to challenge but to provoke, to push Trump into a defensive stance where he would stumble. But Trump was not a man who stumbled. He understood the game, knew the rules, and most importantly, knew how to break them when necessary. As the interview began, the atmosphere in the studio was charged. The audience, a mix of critics and supporters, sat on the edge of their seats, sensing that they were about to witness something remarkable. The host wasted no time, launching his first question like a spear thrown with deadly accuracy. It was a direct attack meant to unsettle Trump, to put him on the back foot. Yet, instead of reacting with anger or hesitation, Trump did something unexpected. He smiled. That smile was the first indication that this was not going to unfold the way the media had planned. It was a smile of a man who knew exactly where the conversation was going and had already decided how it would end. The host, sensing that his initial attack had failed to land, pressed on. His tone grew sharper, his questions more aggressive. He brought up past controversies, statements taken out of context, events that had been endlessly analyzed by pundits. He demanded explanations, apologies, concessions. But Trump, ever the strategist, did not give an inch. Instead, he countered with facts, with humor, with deflections so expertly executed that they left the host visibly frustrated. He turned the tables effortlessly, making the host look like the one on the defensive. Every attempt to regain control was met with an even more devastating response, a sharper remark, a well-timed pause that left the audience laughing, gasping, or nodding in agreement. The tension in the room shifted. What had started as an interview meant to challenge Trump had transformed into something else entirely, a masterclass in media dominance. The host, realizing he was losing control, tried a different approach. He interrupted, attempted to steer the conversation back to his prepared questions. But Trump, unfazed, leaned, in his voice steady, his confidence unwavering. He delivered a response that would later be replayed millions of times across the internet, a single statement so impactful that it would leave the host speechless. At that moment, the energy in the studio shifted completely. The audience erupted, not in anger but in sheer astonishment. Even those who had come expecting to see Trump falter found themselves unable to deny what had just happened. The host, a man who had built his reputation on controlling interviews, found himself struggling for words. His carefully prepared notes were useless now. He had lost control, and everyone watching knew it. Trump did not need to press further. He had already won. He leaned back, letting the weight of his words settle over the studio, letting the audience process what they had just witnessed. The host, desperate to regain footing, attempted to move on, to shift the conversation to something safer. But the damage was done. The moment had been captured, the battle already decided. As the interview wrapped up, the media scrambled to spin the event, to salvage what they could, but it was too late. The clip spread like wildfire, shared across every platform, dissected in countless articles and discussions. Supporters celebrated, critics fumbled for explanations, and the host, once so confident in his ability to dismantle Trump, was left to deal with the fallout of a confrontation that had not gone as planned. Trump, as always, walked Away unaffected, another battle won, another reminder that in the world of media warfare, he remained undefeated. If you believe in leadership, power, and second chances, this is the place for you. Hit that like button, comment your thoughts, and subscribe to never miss an inspiring Trump story. The stage was set for one of the most highly anticipated television interviews in recent memory. The invitation had come from none other than Oprah Winfrey, a media icon known for her ability to navigate complex conversations, challenge powerful figures, and extract emotional, revealing moments from her guests. Her show, a platform that had hosted presidents, celebrities, and world leaders, had long been a place where tough questions were asked, where public figures were often forced to confront their pasts and defend their positions. But Donald Trump was no ordinary guest, and this was no ordinary interview. For weeks leading up to the broadcast, the media buzzed with speculation. Why had Trump agreed to this? What was his endgame? Was this a strategic move to reclaim control of a narrative that had been shaped against him, or was he stepping into a trap set by one of the most respected interviewers in the world? The official theme of the discussion was framed around leadership, decision-making, and the role of influence in modern America, but everyone knew it would go far beyond that. The real purpose was confrontation. Oprah's audience, known for its diverse and engaged viewership, was deeply divided. Some were eager to see Trump held accountable, expecting Oprah to press him on controversies, policy decisions, and statements that had dominated headlines. Others, particularly his supporters, anticipated a different outcome. They saw this as another opportunity for Trump to prove, once again, that he could not be cornered, that he thrived in the very environments where others faltered. The expectations were enormous. Every news outlet had speculated on the possible directions the conversation might take. Would Oprah challenge Trump in a way that no other interviewer had before? Would she expose vulnerabilities that had remained hidden from public view? Or would Trump, in his characteristic fashion, take control of the conversation, flipping the script and using the platform to his advantage? As the cameras rolled and the opening credits faded, the atmosphere in the studio was electric. The audience held its breath, knowing they were about to witness a moment that would be dissected, replayed, and debated for years to come. The battle of words was about to begin. From the moment Oprah leaned forward in her chair, a glint of determination in her eyes, it was clear that this would not be a standard interview. She had prepared extensively, knowing that a conversation with Donald Trump required more than just well-crafted questions. It demanded control, precision, and an ability to push without breaking. She had built her career on navigating complex conversations, and today she intended to challenge Trump in a way few had managed before. She began with a calculated approach, her voice smooth but firm. "Donald," she said, locking eyes with him, "you have built your career on being outspoken, on saying exactly what's on your mind without hesitation. But that has also come with a cost. You've been accused of being divisive, of stirring controversy wherever you go. Do you ever stop to consider that maybe, just maybe, your words do more harm than good?" The question hung in the air for a moment. The audience, a mix of skeptics and supporters, sat in silence, waiting to see how Trump would respond. Some leaned in, eager to see him squirm under the weight of Oprah's challenge. Others smirked, knowing that he would never allow himself to be cornered so easily. Trump, however, did not flinch. He tilted his head slightly, the faintest smirk playing at the corner of his lips. "Oprah," he said, his voice calm yet charged with an unshakable confidence, "the only reason people say I'm divisive is because I refuse to be controlled. I speak the truth, and sometimes the truth makes people uncomfortable. But let me ask you something. If I weren't speaking out, if I were just another politician reading off a script, would we even be having this conversation right now?" The audience murmured, some nodding in agreement while others whispered among themselves. Oprah, unfazed, pressed forward. "But what about the moments where you're Words have caused outrage. The things you've said about your opponents, the way you've handled criticism, do you regret any of it? Trump didn't hesitate. No. And do you know why? Because every time I speak for the people who have been ignored for too long. The media loves to take what I say out of context, to twist my words. But the American people, they understand me. That's why they support me. That's why no matter how much the press tries to take me down, I'm still here. A ripple of reactions spread through the studio. Some clapped, others shook their heads, and Oprah, ever the skilled interviewer, recognized the shift in energy. She had come prepared with hard-hitting questions, but Trump was turning them into ammunition for himself. She decided to escalate. So, you're saying that nothing you've said has ever gone too far? That you've never crossed the line? Trump leaned in slightly, his voice steady but firm. Oprah, if I had played it safe, if I had worried about crossing the line, I wouldn't have accomplished half of what I've done. Leadership isn't about making everyone happy. It's about making decisions that actually get results. The room was alive now, buzzing with reactions from both sides. Oprah had attempted to corner Trump with accusations of recklessness, but instead, he had turned it into a statement of strength. He was no longer just defending himself. He was reaffirming exactly why his supporters stood by him. And in that moment, it became clear. This was not going to be an interview where Trump was forced into submission. He was here to win, and Oprah was now facing an entirely different challenge, finding a way to regain control of a conversation that was slipping from her grasp. Donald Trump had faced countless interviews before, but this moment was different. He could feel it. The energy in the room, the sharpness in Oprah's questioning, the way the audience held its breath after every exchange, it was all building toward something, and he knew exactly what it was. As Oprah pressed him with another pointed question, her voice unwavering, her body language assertive, Trump did something that immediately shifted the tone of the entire interview. He smiled, not a forced grin, not a dismissive smirk, but the kind of smile that sent a clear message: I've got this. It was the moment he realized that the game was his to control. Oprah had come prepared, expecting to challenge him, maybe even to break him down in front of a national audience. But now, as he leaned back ever so slightly in his chair, his fingers interlocked casually, his expression smooth and confident, it became clear that he was not just holding his ground, he was winning. The audience sensed the shift too. Moments earlier, they had been hanging on to Oprah's every word, anticipating that she might force Trump into an uncomfortable admission, a moment of hesitation. But now, all eyes were on him. His relaxed posture, the amused glint in his eye, the measured way he was allowing a brief pause before answering. It was the body language of a man who knew he had already turned the tables. Oprah saw it. She had interviewed world leaders, industry titans, and controversial figures before, and she knew what it meant when someone exuded this level of confidence under pressure. Trump wasn't scrambling for a response. He wasn't buying time. He was waiting just long enough to let the anticipation build, to make everyone in that room, and everyone watching at home, realize that he was in complete control. Then he spoke, and with a single line, he dismantled the entire premise of her question. His voice was steady, deliberate. His words weren't defensive, they were decisive. He didn't just answer, he reframed the entire discussion, making Oprah's challenge seem not just weak, but irrelevant. The audience reacted instantly. Gasps, laughter, some clapped. Even those who had come expecting to see him struggle had to admit that he had just delivered something brilliant. He had turned what was meant to be a confrontation into an opportunity, and he had done it effortlessly. Oprah blinked, her professional composure unwavering, but there was something in her expression, a flicker of realization. She had come to challenge Trump, but now she was facing something entirely different. He wasn't on the defensive, he wasn't reacting, he was dictating the pace, and he knew it. That was why he had smiled. That was why he had let the moment stretch just long enough, He had seen it happen before, time and time again. The moment when the person sitting across from him realized that the interview was no longer in their hands. Trump had won, and he was only getting started. Donald Trump's journey is filled with resilience, bold decisions, and unforgettable moments. Stay inspired, like this video, drop a comment below, and subscribe to be part of this movement. The moment had arrived. Oprah, despite her best efforts, had not managed to shake Trump's confidence. She had thrown everything at him, sharp questions, moral dilemmas, pointed accusations, but he remained composed. And now, sensing that he had complete control, he delivered the response that would define the entire interview. Leaning slightly forward, his eyes locked on Oprah's, he let out a short chuckle before speaking. "Oprah, I have to say, I love how you do this. You take something completely normal, something every strong leader has to do, and you turn it into some kind of scandal. It's impressive, really. If I weren't sitting here, I'd almost believe it myself." The delivery was flawless. The irony in his voice, the way he praised her technique while simultaneously dismantling her argument, it was a masterstroke. The audience erupted, half of them in shock, the other half unable to contain their amusement. Even Oprah, a seasoned interviewer, seemed momentarily caught off guard. Trump didn't stop there. He continued, his voice steady, his words precise. "You see, Oprah, people like you love to talk about division, but let's be honest, who's really causing division here? Me? Or the people who spend every day twisting my words, taking things out of context, trying to turn the American people against each other? Because I'll tell you, the people out there, they're smart. Smarter than the media gives them credit for, and they see right through it." The reaction in the studio was electric. This was classic Trump, turning the attack back on his opponent, shifting the focus from himself to a larger issue, making it about the American people rather than just his own defense. And it wasn't the first time he had done it. This moment echoed past confrontations where he had turned the tables on those who thought they had him cornered, like in the 2016 presidential debates when Hillary Clinton accused him of not paying taxes. Without missing a beat, he fired back, "That makes me smart." The line, though controversial, resonated with millions who saw it as a bold, unapologetic admission that he understood the system better than anyone. Or the time he was pressed about his relationship with the media, accused of attacking journalists unfairly. His response, "I don't attack the press. I just tell the truth, and they don't like it." Again, the crowd erupted. The message was clear, and the moment went viral. Now, here he was again, turning Oprah's challenge into a statement of strength. The interview had started with her on the offensive, but now the roles had reversed. Trump wasn't just answering questions, he was shaping the narrative. Oprah, ever the professional, tried to regain control, but the momentum had shifted. Trump had delivered his knockout line, and the impact was undeniable. The audience, the media, the internet, everyone would be talking about this moment. And just like that, what was supposed to be a confrontation had turned into another iconic victory for Trump. For a brief moment, the studio fell into complete silence. It wasn't just the absence of noise, it was the kind of silence that carried weight, the kind that only happened when something truly unexpected unfolded before an audience's eyes. It was the silence of realization. Oprah, the master of controlling conversations, the interviewer who had spent decades guiding discussions and commanding the room, suddenly found herself at a loss for words. She blinked once, then again, as if processing what had just happened. Her expression, always composed, revealed the slightest flicker of surprise. For the first time in the interview, she wasn't steering the conversation. Trump was. The audience, an eclectic mix of critics, supporters, and undecided observers, sat frozen in their seats. Some exchanged glances, mouths slightly open, as if asking each other whether they had just witnessed what they thought they had. Others sat stiffly, hands gripping the arms of their chairs, unsure of how to react. A few members of the crowd, Particularly those who had come expecting Trump to dominate, smirked in satisfaction, nodding slightly as if to say, "There it is, he did it again." The camera crew, trained professionals who had filmed countless interviews in this very studio, instinctively zoomed in, capturing every nuance of the moment, the slight shift in Oprah's posture, the way her fingers curled ever so subtly on the armrest of her chair, the beads of nervous energy now present in the room. Even they could feel it. Then, slowly, reactions began to bubble to the surface. A low murmur rippled through the audience as reality set in. Some people began nodding, as if acknowledging that Trump had just flipped the script. Others whispered to their neighbors, trying to make sense of what had just transpired. Oprah, ever the professional, straightened in her chair, visibly regaining her composure. But the shift was undeniable. The power dynamic in the room had changed. What had begun as an attempt to put Trump on the defensive had transformed into a moment that now belonged to him. The audience knew it, Oprah knew it, and Trump, sitting comfortably, exuding confidence, knew it most of all. His expression didn't change much, just the same satisfied, knowing smirk that had lingered throughout the exchange. He didn't need to gloat. The silence, the energy in the room, the stunned reactions, they spoke louder than any victory speech ever could. The moment the interview ended, the internet erupted. Within minutes, clips of Trump's response flooded social media platforms, turning what was supposed to be a routine television appearance into an instant viral sensation. Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, and Facebook were ablaze with reactions, debates, and of course, memes. On Twitter, hashtags like Trump destroys Oprah, Zika Trump clapback, and Zeke's Trump wins again skyrocketed to the top of the trending list. Influencers, political commentators, and everyday users flooded the platform with their takes. Some hailed it as another masterclass in Trump's ability to dominate media confrontations. Others, particularly his critics, scrambled to spin the narrative, but even they couldn't deny that the clip had taken on a life of its own. One user wrote, "Like him or not, that was a brutal takedown. You could hear the gears in Oprah's head grinding." Another simply posted, "The silence after that line, priceless." Meanwhile, TikTok became ground zero for creative edits and reactions. Thousands of users uploaded side-by-side reaction videos, mimicking Oprah's expression of shock and disbelief. Clips of Trump's now iconic line were spliced with slow-motion replays, dramatic music overlays, and humorous captions like, "When you realize you just got outplayed on national TV." The video format played perfectly into Trump's favor, quick, punchy, and endlessly rewatchable. Over on YouTube, political commentary channels rushed to break down the moment, analyzing every second of the exchange. Some uploaded reaction videos with titles like "Trump just humiliated Oprah on live TV," while mainstream media outlets were forced to acknowledge the massive attention the moment was receiving. Even channels typically critical of Trump couldn't ignore the fact that the clip had taken over the internet. One particularly viral video replayed the moment over and over, with captions emphasizing the shift in power dynamics. "Watch the exact second Oprah realizes she lost control." Facebook and Instagram became flooded with reposts of the clip, often accompanied by captions like, "This is why Trump is undefeated in the media." Conservative pages celebrated the moment as yet another instance of Trump's media prowess, while liberal pages attempted damage control, focusing on other aspects of the interview. But no matter the perspective, the reality was undeniable. Everyone was talking about it, and then came the memes. One of the most widely shared memes featured a split-screen comparison of Oprah before and after Trump's response. On one side, she appeared confident and in control, and on the other, her expression had completely changed, replaced by visible discomfort. The caption? "That moment when you realize you walked into a Trump trap." Another meme took a screenshot of Oprah's stunned face, overlaying the classic confused math lady graphics, implying that she was calculating how to recover from the moment. Others used stills of the silent audience, with captions like, "The moment the crowd knew he won." By the next morning, major news outlets had no choice but to cover the viral explosion. Some attempted to downplay it, suggesting that Trump had merely dodged tough questions rather than delivering a decisive response. But their efforts were overshadowed by the sheer volume of content being shared online. Independent commentators, many with millions of followers, had already framed the moment as another Trump victory in the arena of public perception. The sheer speed of the viral spread was a testament to Trump's ability to command attention in the digital age. This wasn't just a moment, it was an event, a cultural phenomenon that had transcended politics and entered the realm of pure entertainment. And as Trump himself later quipped on his own social media, "They never learn, do they?" Oprah Winfrey was a seasoned interviewer, a master at navigating difficult conversations, and someone who rarely found herself off balance. But after Trump's devastating counterattack, the energy in the studio had undeniably shifted. She knew it, the audience knew it, and most importantly, Trump knew it. Still, Oprah was not one to concede defeat easily. After the stunned silence in the room, she quickly composed herself, offering a brief chuckle as if to brush off the intensity of the moment. "Well, Donald," she said, forcing a measured smile, "I have to give it to you. You certainly know how to turn things around." It was an attempt to regain control, to inject some levity into the conversation and move past the blow she had just taken. But Trump wasn't letting go that easily. Leaning forward slightly, his eyes locked onto hers, he responded, "Oprah, I don't turn things around. I just tell the truth. And sometimes the truth makes people uncomfortable." His voice was calm, unwavering, and deliberate. The remark wasn't just a defense. It was another attack, subtly implying that the entire interview had been based on a flawed premise. The audience reacted instantly. Some clapped, others murmured, but one thing was clear: Trump was still in control. Sensing she was losing her grip on the discussion, Oprah attempted to shift the conversation. "Let's talk about something else," she said, flipping through her notes. "You've had a long and controversial career, from business to politics." Trump interrupted, his tone sharp but not aggressive. "Ah, the old 'let's change the subject' trick. Classic." He leaned back slightly, giving the audience a knowing look. It was a subtle but powerful move. He was making it clear that he saw through the strategy. The crowd erupted in laughter. Even those in the audience who weren't Trump supporters couldn't help but acknowledge the moment. He had called out the tactic before it even had a chance to work. Oprah, still determined to regain control, let out a short laugh, but there was a flicker of frustration in her eyes. "Donald, I'm just trying to cover all the topics people want to hear about." Trump didn't miss a beat. "Oh, I'm sure. But let's be honest, this was supposed to be the big gotcha moment, right? That's what everyone was waiting for. And now that it didn't work, we're moving on." "That's fine, Oprah. We can talk about whatever you'd like." The audience erupted again. Oprah had tried to steer the conversation back onto neutral ground, but Trump had refused to let her reset the narrative. Instead, he had turned her attempt into yet another win for himself, exposing what he framed as media manipulation. For the remainder of the interview, Oprah kept her composure, but the power dynamic had permanently shifted. She continued asking questions, but Trump answered on his own terms. Even when she tried to frame new topics in a challenging way, he either deflected with humor or turned them into talking points that strengthened his position. At one point, she attempted to press him again. "But don't you think words have consequences?" she asked, referring to some of his past statements that had sparked controversy. Trump didn't hesitate. "Absolutely. That's why I choose mine very carefully." He paused for effect, then added, "But I think the real question is, do the media choose their words carefully, or do they twist things to fit a narrative?" It was yet another checkmate. The audience responded with another round of applause, and Oprah, though still engaged, knew she was playing on Trump's terms now. By the end of the interview, she had maintained her professionalism, but it was clear to anyone watching, Trump had dominated the conversation. Not by shouting, not by evading, but by methodically controlling the flow of discussion, by anticipating every move before it happened, and by turning every challenge into an opportunity. As the cameras cut, one thing was undeniable. Trump had once again turned a high-stakes media appearance into a viral victory. Every great leader leaves a legacy. Be part of the conversation. Smash that like button. Share your opinion in the comments. And make sure to subscribe for more powerful Trump insights. The impact of this moment extended far beyond a single television interview. It was not just about an exchange of words between Donald Trump and Oprah Winfrey. It was a demonstration of Trump's unparalleled ability to dominate the media landscape, a skill that had defined his career both in business and politics. For decades, Trump had been at the center of public discourse, constantly scrutinized, challenged, and targeted by the media. But time and time again, he had shown an uncanny ability to turn these moments of confrontation into opportunities. This interview was no different. What was meant to be a difficult, hard-hitting discussion turned into yet another showcase of Trump's ability to think on his feet, counterattack with precision, and reframe narratives in real time. This was more than just a media victory. It was a reaffirmation of why his supporters admired him. His base had always seen him as someone who refused to back down, someone who stood up against the establishment, against political correctness, and most importantly, against what they viewed as a biased media. This interview with Oprah had reinforced that image. In their eyes, he had once again proven that he could not be intimidated, not even by one of the most respected and influential figures in television history. For his critics, the moment was frustrating. They had hoped to see him struggle, to see Oprah challenge him in a way that would force him into an uncomfortable position. Instead, he had maneuvered through every question with ease, exposed what he framed as media manipulation, and walked away without a scratch. This wasn't the first time Trump had done this. His ability to turn media confrontations into victories had been evident in past interviews and debates. 2015, Megyn Kelly, the Republican debate clash. In one of the most memorable moments of the GOP primary debates, Fox News anchor Megyn Kelly pressed Trump about his past comments regarding women. Rather than backing down, Trump fired back with humor and defiance, reframing the moment as another example of media bias. The backlash from the press was intense, but his supporters rallied around him, seeing him as someone unafraid to challenge the status quo. 2016, Anderson Cooper, the Hillary Clinton debate exchange. During a presidential debate, when asked about leaked recordings, Trump pivoted the conversation to Bill Clinton's history, shifting the focus entirely. His ability to reframe controversies had been one of the key reasons he remained politically untouchable in the eyes of his base. 2020, Leslie Stahl, the 60 Minutes interview walkout. When CBS's Leslie Stahl attempted to corner him during a pre-election interview, Trump, sensing the dynamic of the conversation, abruptly ended it, later releasing unedited footage of the exchange to expose what he claimed was an unfair approach by the media. Instead of being portrayed as defensive, he took control of the narrative before the final edit could be shaped against him. The Oprah interview was yet another moment in this long list of confrontations where Trump had not only survived, but thrived under pressure. The political implications were clear. This moment would only solidify his standing among those who viewed him as a fighter, a leader who would never let the media dictate the terms of the conversation. For Oprah, the interview would be remembered as one of the rare moments where she struggled to maintain control. She remained professional, but the fact that Trump had dictated the direction of the discussion was undeniable. In the grander scheme of media history, this moment served as a case study in how Trump had reshaped the rules of political communication. He had proven that traditional methods of interviewing no longer applied to him, that prepared questions and carefully structured narratives could not contain him. More than just a viral moment, this was a demonstration of how Trump continued to wield influence, not just through policy or speeches, but through his raw ability to command attention and shape public perception. And as the internet continued to replay the clip, dissect every moment, and spread memes capturing Oprah's reaction, one thing was clear. Trump had once again turned a challenge into a triumph. The interview had started as a challenge, a high-stakes conversation between two of the most influential figures in modern America. Oprah Winfrey, a seasoned interviewer known for her ability to press even the most powerful guests, had come prepared to put Donald Trump on the defensive. The media had framed it as a moment where tough questions would force Trump into a corner, where he would finally have to answer in a way that left him exposed. But what unfolded was something entirely different. From the moment Trump leaned back in his chair and delivered his first confident response, the game changed. He was never on the defensive. He never allowed the conversation to be dictated by anyone but himself. With each pointed question, he turned the tables, exposing the tactics being used against him and reframing the narrative in real time. And then came the moment. The response that left the studio in silence. The line that sent shockwaves across the internet. The instant when Oprah, despite her expertise, found herself momentarily caught off guard. Trump had not only answered, he had taken control of the entire conversation. The audience knew it, the viewers at home knew it, and Oprah, despite her professionalism, knew it too. The aftermath was immediate. The clip spread like wildfire, dominating social media platforms and news cycles. Memes, reactions, and breakdowns of the exchange flooded the internet. Some called it a masterclass in media strategy. Others saw it as yet another example of Trump's ability to bypass traditional political norms and connect directly with the public. But no one could deny the impact. This wasn't just an interview, it was a historic moment in modern media. It was a case study in how Trump had rewritten the rules of political engagement, proving once again that he could not be cornered, that no matter the opponent, he had an uncanny ability to control the message and turn even the most aggressive confrontations into victories. And now, the question is yours to answer. What did you think of Trump's response? Did he handle the interview the way you expected? Or did this moment surprise you? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more explosive moments like this one. Strength, strategy, and vision. If these qualities inspire you, you're in the right place. Show your support by liking this video, commenting your thoughts, and subscribing for more.